It's time for Broncos Pregame Live with Steve Atwater, Matt Boyer, and Alexis Perry.
It's a new month, and today the newest quarterbacks for these longtime AFC West rivals will go head-to-head for the very first time. It's Drew Lock and your Denver Broncos host Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers right here at Power Field at Mile High. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for Broncos Pregame Live. I'm Alexis Perry, and as always, today I'm joined by my favorite Hall of Famer, Mr. Steve Atwater, and of course, Broncos TV's Matt Boyer. Guys, 64 degrees, feels like 94. Safe to say it's a little bit of a different week weather-wise for us out here.
Where was this last week? I mean, come on. We were freezing last week. Couldn't even talk. Our mouths were so cold. But
yeah, this feels much better.
Oh, much better.
I think we can all agree it feels much better. Well, by the end of this beautiful day here today, the Broncos will hope to be celebrating their third straight win over the Los Angeles Chargers after sweeping the series last season. However, in order to do so, they're going to have to bounce back from a really tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs last week. You guys, self-inflicted wounds and missed opportunities were the theme of Week 7. So, what do you hope the Broncos have learned from that 43-16 loss to the Chiefs?
You can't give up 3 points to good teams. The Broncos gave up 14 points combined between that kickoff return for a touchdown and then the pick six from Drew Lock. This is another good team that the Broncos are playing. Yes, the quarterback is young, but you can't force things against good teams. I think that the key for this Broncos team is going to be, again, taking what the defense gives you. If Drew Lock learned that last week, I think he'll be in pretty good shape today.
Yeah, well, I think that our offense can look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense and say, we're not where we want to be just yet. Now, we got a lot of work to do, got a lot of work to put in. And sometimes you got to face a great team like the Kansas City Chiefs offense to realize, hey, we got to put some more work in. Defensively, I think you can take, hey, we're on the verge of being really good. I mean, we gave up some points, but it wasn't a ton of points. I thought they played well overall. They played with a lot of intensity. And then special teams-wise, we got to help the team win by scoring some points as opposed to giving up points.
All three facets of the game, they all need to get involved here today. Matt, things don't get too much easier for this Broncos offense with two stellar pass rushers, in Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. How does Drew Lock and this offense overcome the chaos that those guys are going to create?
It's funny because this is the first time Drew Lock's going to face a team that he's already beaten in his career. So he should have some confidence going into this matchup. Last time Lock faced this Chargers team, Bosa and Ingram weren't really a factor. More importantly, though, Garrett Bowles should have some confidence going into this game because last game against the Chargers, Bowles, this was kind of the start last year where Bowles really started to get things going and turn things around for his career. So this is a matchup that I think the Broncos are going to have a lot of confidence with on offense, even though, those pass rushers are pretty good on the other side.
Yes, they are. Steve, after 2 fumbles last week, Melvin Gordon, he's going to really want to redeem himself here today, and the timing really couldn't be better up against his former team for the very first time. What does he need to show today to maybe make the Chargers regret not signing him back?
Yeah, well, first off, he's got to hold on to the ball. Now, Melvin Gordon, in his years with the Los Angeles Chargers, he had 2 seasons where he had 4 or more fumbles.
Yes.
And that was his first season and his last season. And this year, he's got 3 already. He's got to hold on to that football. I think if Melvin Gordon comes out of this game with 15 rushes, 75 yards or more, averaging 5 or more yards per carry, I think the Los Angeles Chargers will regret letting him go.
Well, in terms of wide receivers, kind of a tough day here. Wideout Tim Patrick, he suffered a hamstring injury last week against the Chiefs, and he has been officially ruled out for this game. Matt, what does that mean for this receiving core today?
We're going to see a lot of 10. We're going to see a lot of Jerry Jeudy. I think we're going to see a lot of Jerry Jeudy today. We know he can be that number 1 wide receiver. We've seen flashes from him. Remember that Jets game going up and making that great touchdown grab, that mossing over that DB from the Jets? We know he's got the skill set. Now it's just a matter of putting him in position. So, it's going to be more of KJ Hamler, more Tyree Cleveland and Deshaun Hamilton, but this is Jerry Jeudy's time to shine.
Yes, it is. Well, now, as for the Chargers offense, instead of facing the oh-so-familiar Phillip Rivers, the Broncos are going to see NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month for the month of October, Justin Herbert, under center for the Chargers. Herbert coming off a huge game against the Jags. Steve, what about him makes him such a threat, and how can the Broncos tame him?
Well, he's a big guy. He's strong. He He can run. He's mobile in the pocket. And it looks like he has a really good grasp of the offense, even in his first year as the Los Angeles Chargers quarterback. Also has a lot of weapons around him. He has, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, they're doing a great job. Virgil Green, before he got hurt, he was doing a nice job. Where they have some issues right now, I think, is that offensive line. If we can take advantage of that, get some pressure on them up the middle, I think that'll help us out.
What do you think, Matt?
Herbert was their leading rusher last week, so expect a lot of designed runs. Steve mentioned the big arm. There was a back shoulder fade to Keenan Allen last week, 30 yards down the field. He made it look effortless.
Yes,
I think the Broncos are going to need to bring a lot of unorthodox pressure. Steve did talk to Ed Donatel a couple weeks ago, and he was very impressed with Josie Jewell and Alexander Johnson, their ability to get into the backfield right now. So bring some different looks that Herbert hasn't seen yet, because this is only his third or fourth game starting in the NFL.
All right, guys, thank you so much for your insight on this matchup. Really, really appreciate it. And hey, speaking of insight, I want some insight into how you are celebrating game day here today at home. So we want you guys to take some pictures and share them with us using the hashtag LACVerseDen. You guys can watch throughout the show to see them, and we'll even put some on the video board inside the stadium throughout the game. But all right, guys, we are just getting started here on Broncos Pregame Live, and it really wouldn't be game day without a few key members of the game day experience. That would be the Denver Broncos cheerleaders and, of course, Stampede. So let's head inside and get the Broncos fight song with Stampede and DBC.
All right, thank you to the Broncos cheer and Stampede, the sounds of game day. There's nothing like it. Broncos country, we're going to get you set for game day with a little Broncos trivia right now. And the first topic is quarterbacks, of course. We love talking quarterbacks around here. Justin Herbert is making his first start in this series. This is the first Chargers-Broncos matchup since Week 17 of the 2005 season that will not feature Phillip Rivers at quarterback. Rivers, of course, starting today for the Indianapolis Colts, so a new look to a very, very familiar rivalry. Next up, the Broncos 2020 rookie class has played a combined 1,837 snaps through Week 7 of this season. That's the third highest in the NFL, so those rookies like Lloyd Cushenberry, Jerry Jeudy, Michael O.J. Mudia playing a huge factor in that statistic right there. Among qualifying tight ends, let's move right along now. Among qualifying tight ends, Noah Fant is fourth in the NFL in receiving yards per game with 51.4 yards per game. That is excellent. The only people better are names like Kittle, Kelsey, and Darren Waller from the Las Vegas Raiders. So a lot of things to look forward to, or a lot of positive things to take from the tight end spot for the Broncos. Now, Broncos country, we talked about it at the top of the show. The weather right now is unbeatable, so that means you guys should be outside, getting to the patio, getting to the driveway, the deck, tailgating your hearts out this weekend. And Alexis Perry is outside the Mile High Monument with a great twist on chicken wings.
Thanks so much, Matt. Here with Lon Simmonsma. He is the executive chef and founder of Cholon Restaurant Concepts. Lon, we have an amazing spread today. What are we making?
So, this is all about the tailgate party. Obviously, the Broncos do the Taste of the Broncos event every year, and we're so terribly sad that we're not actually able to bring everyone together here at the stadium and do that event this year. But we can go virtually and make some fun dishes, and it's just a great way to bring everybody together, and a tailgate's a great way to, spread the love and to make delicious food and share a little bit of a pregame together. So today, we're gonna do some grilled chicken wings. Not your traditional chicken wings where you're gonna deep fry them and toss them in the buffalo sauce and dip them in the blue cheese dressing. I studied a lot about Asian food in my life. And one of my favorite chicken wings is more of a Vietnamese style caramel wing. So instead of deep frying them, we're actually going to grill them. So here we have our grill right here.
Okay.
So we're just going to open this up. And my favorite thing, I don't like to cut the wings into the pieces. I like to keep them whole.
Okay.
So this is how you do it in Asia, right? And then you just grab onto it and nibble it. So I'm just going to toss those right on the grill. There's enough fat in those chicken wings that you don't have to worry about oiling it up too much. So
perfect.
just put those on the grill like
Throw
that.
them on high heat.
High heat, yeah.
Okay.
We're going to get that skin like nice and charred and crispy.
What are these ingredients that you have out
Yeah,
here?
now we're gonna make the sauce. So this is all things that hopefully you should have at home, or if not, we can work and play around with it a little bit. But just some vegetable oil here, ginger, garlic, just minced by hand a little bit. Black pepper. This is one of my favorite ingredients from Vietnam. Some of the best black pepper in the world actually comes from Vietnam. And then obviously in your fridge, you got some sriracha sauce. This is ma ploy, everyone's favorite sweet chili sauce.
Yummy.
Rice vinegar, you can use any kind of vinegar. You can use apple cider, sherry vinegar, whatever you have.
Okay.
Soy sauce and just a little bit of sesame oil.
Easy.
So I got my little saute pan right here. We're gonna add some oil in there. And then we're just gonna put some of this ginger in here. Now we wanna caramelize this a little bit. Get a little bit of that flavor like nice and deep and rich.
How much would you say that is of each ingredient?
This is about maybe let's say a quarter cup of each.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna stir that around. Get it nice and caramelized.
I love that smell, ginger and garlic together.
And so the whole idea here is to get these nice deep flavors built. Smell how nice and aromatic that is. You can smell the ginger, you can smell the garlic. Now we're gonna go ahead and add, let's say, a teaspoon of black pepper. Stir that around, and we're just trying to like toast that spice to get it nice and aromatic. So
I wish it was smell-o-vision. Wouldn't that be nice? I wish people could smell this at home. It smells delicious.
Yeah. Sriracha sauce goes right inside. Let's call that like 2 tablespoons, that nice spice. Now for me, all of Asian food is a lot about balancing flavors. So that was our spicy. Now here's ma ploy, that's very sweet. So we're gonna add mostly ma ploy. That's the base of the sauce. And then, so obviously vinegar is acidic. So we're gonna add that in. That's gonna be nice and sour. So again, think about Southeast Asian cooking as kind of like yin and yang.
Yes.
Like hot, sour, salty, sweet, and kind of balancing flavors and building them together.
Okay.
So now we have our spicy, our sweet, our sour, soy sauce, salty.
Salty.
Salty, you knew that. You knew that.
Did I? I knew that.
A little bit of soy sauce in there. And again, those harmonious flavors are just gonna balance each other. They're really aggressive, really intense on their own, but we're building them and making them one beautiful sauce all together. And then sesame oil. Just a little bit of nuttiness. Now, you see how thick the sauce is on my plate here? So basically, we're gonna allow this to come to a boil and just allow it to reduce for probably like 15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Reduces and you pull
And then over here on our nice grill, see those beautiful char marks that we're getting on the chicken wings there? Again, that's another flavor dynamic. That's bitter. Right? So the char is bitter, hot, sour, salty, sweet. So we have all these amazing flavors that are all being balanced together. Now we're just going to add this into this bowl right here.
Okay.
And our chicken wings over here are beautifully cooked. See that nice deep grill, the nice char on there? We're gonna add those into the sauce. Okay, just give those a little bit of a toss.
I feel like this takes skill. The toss takes skill.
I didn't even make a mess of myself.
I know,
so that's
right?
great. And now, just line these up on the plate. So beautifully there. Nice. Make sure they get nice and glazy. You're gonna need some finger wipes for this for sure. But that's how they do it in Asia. You just gnaw on it until it's just like that.
Perfect.
And then just for some nice freshness and some texture, some scallions and some beautifully wilted, sun-wilted cilantro.
It's a little warm out here, but that's okay. Still tastes amazing.
Et voila.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lon. Beautiful.
Our thanks to Chef Lon and Alexis for that great recipe. That's going to be the next one I'm adding to my tailgate at home. Remember, Broncos country, if you're not so much into making food as you are just going out and eating it, Taste of the Broncos is going on right now. If you head to denverbroncos.com/taste, we've got a great list of restaurants. Proceeds are going towards Food Bank of the Rockies and the Colorado Restaurant Association Relief Fund. Again, that website, denverbroncos.com/taste. taste. All right, Broncos country, time to get to know a little bit more about one of your favorite Broncos. And this next Bronco was one of the steadiest performers last year. And this year, he's already racked up 48 combined tackles. He's one of the most passionate, he's the most passionate player that we probably have on our roster. His Dino celebration has become a fan favorite. It's time to get to know a little bit more about linebacker Alexander Johnson.
Each week during the 2020 season, we love to recognize and honor members of Broncos country who are hometown frontline heroes. And today we have an entire team of frontline heroes. The Children's Hospital Colorado COVID mobile testing team is instrumental in the launch and management of Children's Hospital Colorado's mobile collection sites for COVID-19. Their hard work, dedication, and teamwork have been key in ensuring the safety of their patients, their community, and their partners. A big Broncos country thank you to the Children's Hospital COVID mobile testing team, which includes Kyle Combest, Katarina Roberts-Spitek, John Roberts, Eric Taylor, Ariana Anderson, and Sue Ann Kendall. And each week we are honored to honor a Broncos fan actively serving our country in the military. And now it is time for today's Salute to Service moment presented by USAA. Navy Counselor First Class Joshua Beckham hails from Littleton, Colorado. He joined the Navy in 2000 and was initially assigned to the United States Navy Ceremonial Guard in Washington, D.C. As a top performer there, he earned selection to the rank of Master at Arms. His duty assignments included Naval Security Forces Bahrain and Embarked Security Forces Sicily, Italy. A veteran of Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom, he was deployed in 2009 to Saudi Arabia as a protective service agent for the Commander U.S. Central Command. Petty Officer Beckham is currently serving as a Navy recruiter in Denver, Colorado.
Hey Broncos country, this is Petty Officer Beckham with the United States Navy, attached to Navy recruiting here in Denver. My shout out goes to all the service members who have served and are currently serving around the world. Stay safe, God bless the United States, and go Broncos.
A couple of great hometown heroes there for sure. Now, focusing things back to the field now, Broncos country. A lot of the focus this week has been on the offense, specifically the passing game. How do the Broncos improve through the air? Well, we heard from head coach Vic Fangio, his staff, and the players, and they all came to the same consensus. It's not going to be just on Drew Lock. It's going to be on everybody.
Well, I think as a team, we just need to fix our entire passing game. You know, we just haven't thrown it very efficiently the last 2 weeks. That's an 11-man operation. That's us as coaches. We're all in it together. And we got to go to work on that, and it has to improve, no doubt about it. And as the quarterback, he's the main focus as always, but I think we all need to keep in mind that it is an 11-man operation.
We worked our way into some shorter third down situations where we have to hit on those. And, you know, there's multiple reasons why that happens because, it just goes without saying. Then you get 3 more downs, you're closer to the scoring zone, yada, yada. So those are all the things, because sometimes, if you finish the game and you have, 10 or 12 incompletions for whatever reason, if 3 or 4 of them are on third down where you could have made a difference, those are huge. So that's all the process of learning as a quarterback. And, whether we win or lose the game, those are the fundamentals you work on daily.
One of the things, if we go back and look at our stats, is we can be better at third and shorts, but we got to keep ourselves out of the long third downs. I know personally last game, missed a couple baby throws. throws that I made in Pop Warner, and that's unacceptable by me. And again, like I said, I'm working on that not happening again, and just sharpening the focus a little bit there on those third downs.
The statistics, the conversions, you look at the numbers, and we're not living up to our potential, right? We have so much ability, so much talent on the offensive side of the ball, and we got to figure out how to make these things work, right? So again, not a bad attitude from my part, still positive about it, but at some point it's like, put up or shut up, right? It's time to, buckle down and get these things going. As for me, as for anybody on this team, right? We have to, be on our P's and Q's and get this thing turned around.
I'm ready to win a game, not just because it's the Chargers, but just because it's the next team, that's on our schedule. And we need to do whatever we can at this point to try to rack up some W's to get in a position to get some playoffs.
Well, the Broncos offense is looking to buckle down and get back on track here today. Overall, your Denver Broncos have a 41-18-1 record against the Chargers right here in the Mile High City. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, they're hoping to extend their win streak to 3 straight games after sweeping the Chargers. Their most recent win over the Chargers was Drew Lock's NFL debut Week 13 when he completed 64% of his passes for 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception for an 84.5 quarterback rating. But he'll have to be even better here today going head-to-head with Justin Herbert, right, Matt?
Yeah, this is a quarterback matchup that, if you look at the stats, Herbert's coming off one of his best games of the year. Locke was probably a low point for him. But one thing I do want to bring up is that last year after the Chiefs loss, Locke had 2 great games, a great rebound by him, and the one thing that he did that he said he focused on was taking what the defense gave him. That game against the Lions, we saw a rushing touchdown from Phillip Lindsay, just a short shovel pass to Deshaun Hamilton, and that was really the offensive muster that got them over the hump. So you don't need to do too much, just take what the defense gives you.
Thanks, Matt. Another key matchup to look for here today, right, Steve? The number 1 pass rushers for these teams, Bradley Chubb, Joey Bosa.
It's going to be fun to watch both of these guys. Both of them are dominating edge rushers. Joey Bosa has been doing it just a little bit longer. So far, he's got 16 tackles this year, 7 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks. Guess what? Bradley Chubb had just about the same thing. 17 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks. Pretty evenly matched group of guys in terms of their talent level. Hopefully Bradley Chubb can get us 2 or 3 today to get over the hump. Push him ahead of Joey Bosa.
Come on, get in that face of Justin Herbert.
That's right, let's go.
Well, one guy who's going to be tasked with protecting Drew Lock from Joey Bosa, Garrett Bowles.
We mentioned it at the top of the show. Bowles has done it before against this Chargers team last year. Bosa and Ingram did not register a sack against Drew Lock. And Broncos country, I know there's some hard feelings with Garrett Bowles in the past, but look at those numbers. 91.2 overall grade from PFF. That's the best tackle grade of any tackle in the NFL right now. So it's time to exactly, Steve. He's balling. Time to give a little love to Garrett Bowles, Broncos country.
I love it. All right, guys, now that you've heard our takes on today's matchup, it's time to hear what KOA Radio's Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Albright think is most intriguing about Broncos and Chargers today.
All right, Ben, let's go ahead and break down some of the matchups here as the Broncos are taking on the Chargers today. When it comes to the Broncos offense, one of the biggest ones is going to be those edge rushers, Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. I feel like there's an opportunity to run up the middle against the Chargers. Teams are averaging 117 yards on the ground per game over the last 3 games. So for me, Melvin Gordon in this game, I think, is going to have a lot of success as we watched the Jacksonville Jaguars do pretty much the same thing last weekend.
Yeah, they've got those really athletic outside edge rushers. They play well and contain. You really don't want to do outside zone stretch type runs. You want to keep it up the gut, as you suggested, inside zone duo blocking, too. Those defensive tackles are easy and susceptible to come downhill on. So, if I'm the Denver Broncos, I want to wear out those defensive linemen, forcing them to tackle in the run game early so you can take kind of the air out of the bag when they're trying to come after the passer.
Also notice over the last 3 games, teams were kind of doing a little bit of those check downs, some of the screens to the halfbacks. 23 catches for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaging 6.8 yards per catch to running backs out of the backfield over the last 3 games. That's not something the Broncos have been doing a lot of recently, but maybe this is a game to get it going.
It's one they should. You've got to have the timing down. You've got to have the athleticism at the tackle position to be able to do that. That said, when you've got hyper-athletic edge rushers like that, they tend to get upfield quickly. And when you get upfield quickly, it does make you susceptible in the screen game. So I think that would be a good idea to maybe take advantage of them early, put them back on their heels, and take away from that pass rush a little bit.
Does Pat Shurmur need to get Drew Lock in rhythm a little bit, get him some short completions, get him some confidence going?
I think so. I think that with any quarterback, once you build that confidence, it helps out. Sometimes rhythm passers, guys like that, you just got to get them a few easy throws to kind of get in their head. You look at Baker Mayfield against when he was 0 for 5, and then he comes back and completes 12 of 13. The one he missed was a spike to stop the clock against the Bengals. You get those guys in rhythm, and they tend to be more successful. Drew Lock is no exception.
Meanwhile, on the defensive side for the Broncos, I really love the matchups today against their left and right tackle. I think both of those matchups for Bradley Chubb as well as for Malik Reed are really going to be fortuitous.
I think so. I think you've got a bit of a mismatch there, specifically on the left side, where I don't feel the Chargers are very good. I think that the Broncos are going to have to take advantage of that. You're going to have to get pressure and keep contain on Justin Herbert. He's a big-bodied guy who likes to get outside the pocket, create with his legs. It reminds you a little bit of Josh Allen like that.
Oh, yeah.
And they love to get those vertical routes going with somebody coming across like Keenan Allen as a safety blanket. So you want to keep that from happening. Don't give him the time to be able to let those routes develop, and you'll be better for it.
Yeah, and that's something you definitely notice with him. I'm glad you brought up Josh Allen because he is a guy that likes to be able to utilize his legs, and somebody do that, some of those RPO stuff, and he does take off and run. So you have to keep that contained. That was something that Jacksonville struggled with.
Yeah, if you lose contain on quarterbacks like that, that's where you get sunk. It's not necessarily about the pass rush, although it is. I mean, you want to disrupt the pass and get him to throw the ball quicker, but you've got to make sure you keep them contained and inside the pocket. You're not worried about him just taking off. You want to keep him contained, because when he does take off and buys time with his legs and keep those eyes up and down field, that's when big plays happen, when corners can't cover for 3, 4, 5 seconds. They can't cover that route forever.
Are you more worried about the speed of the Chargers receivers or Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, who are more the possession guys?
Allen and Henry, the possession guys underneath. They're so good at what they do. Keenan Allen does not have elite speed by any stretch, but he does have elite quicks. He does gear down quickly, drops his hips, and gets out of those breaks so quickly. And Hunter Henry's the same way. They both use their body in a way to shield, and any ball that's thrown at them, they're going to pull in. So you have to play impeccable defense against guys like that. It's not the speed. They're just masters of their craft.
Like to see what Vic Fangio is going to do, getting pressure on Justin Herbert while, again, keeping that contained. All right, that's our preview of the Broncos and Chargers. We'll send it back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Ryan and Ben. You can catch them every weeknight on Broncos Country tonight from 7 to 11 on KOA Radio, 850 AM. And we'll give you a sampling of their show at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings on KTVD Channel 20 right here in Denver. Matt, over to you.
Thank you, Alexis. At each Broncos home game, Broncos Country, we always recognize a Broncos legend, an alum from Broncos Country. And this week, that legend is former wide receiver and kick returner, number 80. We have him right here, Rick Upchurch. Upchurch was a dynamic weapon as a receiver, kick returner, and punt returner. He amassed over 10,000 all-purpose yards and 35 touchdowns, including a team record 8 punt return scores. Upchurch was a 4-time Pro Bowler and was named to the All-Pro team 5 times in his career. He was a 1970s and 1980s NFL All-Decades team selection, making him the only player in Broncos history to make multiple All-Decade teams with the franchise. Upchurch was enshrined in the Broncos Ring of Fame in 2014 and was named to the Broncos Top 100 team just last year. He is now standing by with our own Ring of Famer and Hall of Famer, Steve Atwater.
All right, hello to the great Mr. Rick Upchurch, Denver Broncos Ring of Famer, my good friend. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, Steve, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you, my brother. Once again, congratulations to you and your family on being selected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame representing the Denver Bronco organization. We are so proud of you, man.
Thanks so much. Yep. Hey, we need more in there. So, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Now, how you guys holding up out there?
Man, let me tell you, man, for not to smoke, man, it's beautiful out here, bro. Dry as a bone, but man, let me tell you, it's really nice. The weather's calmed down, and we're just happy to be here in Las Vegas and staying safe, man.
Nice. All right, well, hey, let's get into it. Your rookie year, 1975. Some of these guys weren't even born. Most of them. Where he born, man. You amassed 1,920 yards, all-purpose yards. That's rushing, receiving, return yards. Almost 1,400 from kickoff and punt returns. Now, the Broncos last week gave up a 102-yard kickoff return to the Chiefs. It's one of the greatest returns in Broncos history. What can our coverage units do to improve and prevent that from happening? I mean, how did the team stop you?
Well, Steve, it's a will and a want. You know, you have to want to, man, go down, man, and make the tackle. Like we used to say, the weakest link in the chain is the guy that doesn't go down and do his job. And so if you want to be the weak link in the chain, then you're going to be exposed, man, in film meetings. So, hey, guys, look, you can change the game quickly, man, on special teams. If you kick the ball off, Steve, and then you cause a fumble, offense gets the ball, man, in positive territory, right? Man. And, man, I mean, that turns the whole complexion of the game. So guys got to realize that, once again, special teams is that other third of the game, and they can make a difference. And so for me, honestly, Steve, it got to a point where the guys were kicking the ball short and high, and then they would just flat out just kick it out of bounds, Steve. And so
that's the fair catch some of them.
Yeah, had the fair catch. So that's how they control me. Yeah.
Wow. All right, hey, let's check out Drew Lock. This guy, he's in his second season, our quarterback. He's going to be playing just his 10th NFL game. Now, what can he do to show his teammates and coaches that he's the guy to lead this team for the next several years?
Again, he's got to be the guy, man, that takes control in the huddle, and also take control, Steve, as you know, in the locker room. You know, that's what quarterbacks do. The Peyton Mannings, the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers, and those type of guys, they take control out on the football field, and they have command of that football team and in the locker room. And so if he can, once again, mature into those areas of that ordeal, and then once again, tie in and be nice, man, with his coach, his offensive coordinator, especially with a young quarterback, man. John came in, man, and I played with him his rookie year. He was so overwhelmed with the play calling and how long the play calls was, and watching the clock and all of those things. So he'll mature into those things, and the faster and the quicker he matures into those type of things of taking control and making sure that he doesn't get flustered when they're down and he can bring them back, that's when he's going to come to his fruition as a great, good quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Broncos country, you got to be patient, right? You got to have a little patience there.
You got to have patience. Yeah, absolutely. And Steve, you know, this game is fast and quick. Like John told me, he says, man, this game is so fast. I didn't realize how fast it was. I said, yeah, John, these guys, yeah, they're the best of the best. Yeah, they're the best of the best. So you have to up your game. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think our offense would be playing much better if Cortland Sutton wasn't on IR, but, hey, we can't do anything about that. Now, the Broncos in the draft this year selected Jerry Jeudy with the 15th pick in the first round, and then turned around and got KJ Hamler with the 46th pick in the second round. As a wide receiver, I know you were happy about that.
Absolutely. You know, when you can get speed out on the field, you know, it's hard, man, to go one-on-one. It's hard, man, to play zone and those type of things. It's hard to double up on just one guy. So when you can have guys that can come in with that speed that can stretch the field, especially with those crossing patterns and that old deal. Once you get behind those guys on crossing patterns, it's going to be a completion because there's no way that you can pick up and catch up with them in that old deal. Again, they're young. What happened with these guys, man, this year is no OTAs, Steve. And you know how important OTAs are to get familiar, man, with your quarterback, the system, and just get familiar with your teammates. And so OTAs, I think the OTAs really shortchanged them. But you know, they're learning on the fly right now.
Yeah. All right. Now, Coach Fangio gave me the opportunity to speak briefly to the team in training camp. I was honored to be able to do that. Now, after a 2-4 start to the season, if you were to talk to this young, talented team today, what would be your message to them?
Improve week by week, day by day, game by game. Once again, it's not going to happen overnight. Go to the film meetings, look at the film, watch a lot of film, and understand what you did good, and you can get better at that, and what you did bad, so that you can correct those things. And you know, it's just like a puzzle, Steve. A puzzle, man, is a bunch of pieces, but once you get all those pieces together, you have a perfect picture.
So those guys going to have to understand that this is piecemealing, putting it together without an OTA in that whole deal, and be patient. They're young. This is one of the youngest teams in the National Football League. And then when you lose leadership, when you lose, Chris Harris, when you lose Von Miller, when you lose those type of voices in your locker room, Steve, and you know this as a leader, boy, it takes away a lot as far as how your team plays. So they're going to have to be patient. They're young. Just play hard each and every day and get better.
Yeah. Hey, don't get me fired up to play. Hey, Rick, thank you so much, man. I love you. I hope to see you soon. Again, give Donna our best wishes from the Atwaters to the Upchurches. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much, Steve and Rick. Man, Rick is such an inspiration. Hit him up on Twitter or give him a quick Google to learn a little bit more about him. But speaking of Twitter, we are looking for Broncos fans far and wide to show us how you're celebrating game day. Share your photos with the hashtag LACVerseDen, and we'll put them on the video board inside the stadium throughout the game. Let's see how you're doing so far. Well, a very important part of our game day tradition here at Empower Field at Mile High is, of course, Thunder, his writer, trainer, Ann, and, of course, his owner, Sharon. You guys, thank you so much for being here today. We know that you guys are a staple at home games. I mean, every single one. I don't even know if you guys have ever missed a game, but you guys are also a staple in the Denver community. How are you guys still staying involved in the community this year?
Well, hey, just like everything else, the holidays are a little different this year. We always host a Boys and Girls Club right up here at the club level, and we host 300-some Boys and Girls Club kids. Well, our idea this year, we're going to be hosting Thunder's Christmas Caravan, and Thunder in his horse trailer and us in a caravan will be going around to Boys and Girls Clubs all around the Denver area and providing them with food, with gifts, and toys. So Christmas with Thunder is still going on.
Oh, the holidays with Thunder, there is nothing more than I would rather have. Sharon, I know you guys are really big on the first responder community as well. How are you guys staying involved with them?
Well, November is going to be Thunder Operation Grateful. So we are going to go to some fire stations, police stations, and take gifts, cookies, candy, that sort of thing. And then we're feeding 105 families. So that will happen the week of Thanksgiving, and he'll be there and waving to everybody. And it's going to be safe because you just drive through, pop your trunk, and we put everything in the trunk.
Thank you guys so much for your continued support of the Denver community. We really appreciate it. Thunder, thank you for being here today. I think he's excited to be here. All right, you guys, I know you miss the Denver Broncos cheerleaders just like you miss seeing Thunder at each and every home game, but we've got you covered here today. Here's a performance by the Denver Broncos cheerleaders presented by Antoine Duche Salon and Day Spa. So let's go back inside Empower Field at Mile High and spend some time stretching out and warming up with the Broncos.
Let's take a look now at the Broncos starting offense presented by Aero Electronics. The Broncos offensive line going to be without their offensive line coach today, Mike Munchak, in the COVID-19 protocol for the Broncos. That means Chris Cooper is actually going to be the offensive line coach for the Broncos today. But these guys look familiar. Bowles and Reisner on the left side of the line, Cushenberry in the middle, Schlottman in for Graham Glasgow. Glasgow added to the COVID-19 reserve list earlier this week, and DeMar Dotson over there on the right side. Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay back together again. Hopefully these guys can play a full 60 minutes together. Noah Fant as the starting tight end, and then Deshaun Hamilton. We mentioned Tim Patrick going to be inactive for this game, so Hamilton gets the start alongside Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy going to have a big game today.
Yep, let's go ahead and take a look at your defensive starters here today, the defensive line. And this defense as a whole out today, defensive coordinator Ed Donatel is home today due to COVID-19 protocols. You also have Mike Purcell out with Liz Frank for the rest of the season, so Deshaun Williams will step in at nose. Here we have the linebackers, Jeremiah Tachu getting the start over Malik Reed on the opposite end, Bradley Chubb, and your inside linebackers, the usual, Alexander Johnson and Josie Jewell. As for the Broncos secondary, man, look at this crew. Those guys look tough. AJ Boye, Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons, and Bryce Callahan, your secondary starters. Matt?
For the guys, Alexis, that we won't be seeing out on the field today, unfortunately, that list looks like this. Jeff Driscoll and Deontay Spencer, we knew about those guys. Ntani Muti as well expected. Jake Butt not able to go. Tim Patrick out with a hamstring injury, was evaluated yesterday after practice. Broncos making the decision it's not his day. And then McTelvin Ajim rounds out that group. Ajim, it could have gone this week because of the injury to Mike Purcell, but unfortunately he is not up today.
Right. Steve, just have a quick question for you. Defensively, who's one guy that you think really needs to step up, have a big game here today in order for the Broncos to get a win?
Well, I would imagine that AJ Bouye will be guarding Keenan Allen. That's the Los Angeles Chargers star wide receiver.
That's the matchup today.
I'm hoping that happens. I hope that it's not O.J. Mudia. I'm hoping that it's AJ Bouye. He's going to have a good game because I know that the quarterback is going to try to find the man Keenan Allen, and Justin Herbert's going to try to find Keenan Allen on lots of plays. He's going to have to play well, stay healthy, come out, make some big plays.
Offensively, who needs to shine bright today?
I think it's Noah Fant, Alexis, just because not able to find him underneath a couple of times last week. And whenever Locke has gotten himself into trouble, it's always been Fant to be that security blanket for him, whether it be crossing patterns over the middle, shots up the seam against the Texans last year, remember, had a great game. So look for Locke to find Fant early to get into a rhythm. I expect a big game from Noah.
I hope Locke can fight Fant in the end zone. And remember, for each and every touchdown scored today and at home games throughout the 2020 season, King Soopers will donate $1,000 to Denver Broncos charities. King Soopers donation to Broncos charities helps us improve lives in our community through outreach programs, including Food Bank of the Rockies. All right, guys, we are getting close to kickoff. I know you guys just gave me a few thoughts there, but any final thoughts? Matt, let's start with you.
Broncos can't turn the ball over. They can't give 3 points to good teams. We mentioned that at the top, but then also take what the defense gives you. You don't have to do too much. Just consistent drives are what the Broncos need in order to keep pace with the Chargers. So just stay consistent and don't turn the ball over.
Steve, final thoughts?
Well, we got to find a way to get Jerry Jeudy involved in this offense. I want to see at least 10 targets to Jerry Jeudy today. You know, get him on track. Get him that confidence that he needs. Defensively, keep doing, come out and play the way we played last week. We'll be fine in their special teams. No big plays like we did last week.
All right, you guys know my final thought. A shameless plug for Broncos television programming.
That's not shameless.
5 nights a week. It's not shameless at all, right? 5 nights a week, I kick things off. Broncos beat. 3 beat reporters will join me tomorrow to discuss today's result. And Tuesday through Thursday, our friends Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Albright bring you their Broncos Country Tonight radio show on KOA to television. Then on Friday, the three of us will be back to get you ready for Broncos and Falcons with Broncos Weekend. Watch all 3 of these shows at 6:30 on KTVD Channel 20 in Denver, or look for them on YouTube around 7 o'clock Mountain Time each and every weeknight. All right, guys, a big thank you to the Stampede, Thunder, the Denver Broncos cheerleaders for joining us out here at the Mile High Monument for Broncos Pregame Live. We will leave you all with this, the Parade of Colors, followed by the National Anthem sung by Third and James Records recording artist Kayla Ruby. Thank you all so much for joining us, and hey, go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
Go Broncos, baby! We'll see you guys later.
Please welcome today's color guards representing branches of the United States military and first responders around the state of Colorado. The United States Army, The Navy, stationed at Buckley. The U.S. Air Force Mile High Honor Guard. The United States Space Force. The United States Coast Guard. The Denver Police Department. And the Colorado Professional Firefighters.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.